In a day and age where dark superhero movies exist, the darker they are, the more mysterious and the more it calls towards a certain person. We have had seen a lot of dark films lately, especially in the superhero variety, from the dark of Joker's Photo Deuce to the dark Venom The Last Dance. Not too many movies had a bright and colorful character at the foreground. Not too many movies focused on the symbol of hope. But one man, one creative writer and director, brought forth one of his favorite superheroes in a new day and age, and brought with him a big shining symbol of hope. A hope that we have been waiting for ever since he announced that he wanted to do it. A hope that's been sitting there, waiting in the distance for us to find him. A hope that would soon come straight to the page, and straight front and center. Yes, this is the story of the true symbol of hope. The story of one man and his quest to save the entire world. Though he may come from a foreign planet, he is the most human out of all of us. And so he may be a big blue Boy Scout, this man will always be a symbol of hope, kindness, and a symbol of truth, justice in the American way. Yes, my friends, it's time for me to talk about Greetings, geeks and nerds, I'm Lady Universe and White and Nerdy, and yes, I am reviewing James Gunn's Superman. I bought this for myself back in November of last year as a kind of early Christmas gift, and it's no pun intended that I couldn't wait to watch this when I got home, as well as another Christmas gift that I got, but we'll review that one in good time. But I was so damn excited for this movie, especially when James announced it pretty much as of last month, a freaking like 2 years ago. And I was so ecstatic and so excited for this movie. Now, is this movie worth the hype? Well, I'm happy to say that yes it is, but there's a bunch of Zack Snyder fanboys and fangirls out there that think that this movie should die. Now, I want to point this out to a lot of people. No, I don't hate Zack Snyder. I think he's a wonderful and terrific director. But unfortunately, in my opinion, I think that Zack Snyder's best days are long behind him. He was a revolutionary director, but I think those days are long behind him. Because remember, we were supposed to get a sequel to Justice League that would have had the Green Lantern, the Martian Manhunter, and introduced other members of the Justice League. I'd like to remind people that the only Justice League movie that we got was the director's cut. Yeah. We are never seeing that unmade Justice League movie. But James Gunn had worked on hundreds of different projects for DC, the Creature Commandos, Suicide Squad, especially after he finished Guardians of the Galaxy. James is trying to launch a whole new DC universe, and one of the biggest projects that he wanted to work on was Superman, as he's been a longtime fan of the character. Now, is this the film that we had been worth waiting for? Oh dear God, yes. But more on that later. As such, and like I said, and it's true, we've had a lot of superhero movies that kind of been dark in tone. Never have we needed a movie so badly that was just about something pure and a symbol of hope. And yet, here he is. So, is James Gunn's version of Superman the best version of Superman out there? Let's find out. So, grab on your capes, grab on to your super dogs, and be sure to join the Justice Gang, and beware of Nicholas Hoult. More on him later. So, here we go, and let's take a look and review Superman 2025. James Gunn wasted no time by introducing Superman into the world by already establishing the character, how long that he's been on Earth, and this Superman has only been active for 3 years. As already within that short span of time for the people of Earth, he's already become Earth's mightiest mortal, their symbol of hope. But unfortunately for one man, he does not want him to be. As Lex Luthor sees him as nothing more than a big catastrophic symbol, and he is planned to expose Superman and all of his evil identities. As Superman, or Clark, must deal with the world, its problems, and how he puts up with those problems, especially since he's just a newcomer to Earth and doesn't still understand their ways. But everything for the Man of Steel goes from great to worse, especially immediately, as Lex Luthor and his henchwoman figure out one of Superman's deepest secrets.
We love you more than heaven, our son. We love you more than land. Our beloved home is soon to be gone forever.
Oh, God. But how? God, you're kidding. No one is stupid enough to believe that.
But unfortunately, it's actually true, as Lex Luthor and his henchwoman basically break into Superman's supercomputer and take the message left behind by his parents. Which after Superman's seen as a national threat and a threat of national security, he's taken in and arrested and sent to a super facility where super criminals and basically metahumans are captured. But things go from bad to worse for the Man of Steel when he realizes that his dog that he adopted, Crypto, has actually been kidnapped by Lex Luthor and held hostage by him.
If I ever get my hands on that witch, I'm going to wring up that neck. Finish the breakfast.
I just love how James Gunn established one important thing with Superman, his humanity. That yes, he might be a stranger from outer space, but he's most human out of all of us. And David Cornsweet was the best example of the true Man of Steel, taking true justice in the American way and putting it right into his heart where we needed it. As the entire time I was watching this movie, I couldn't stop smiling at him, only because he felt like the true Man of Steel and the Superman I've been waiting for. And Nicholas Hoult was the perfect casting as Lex Luthor. I loved every minute of him, and I loved to hate him a lot more than you'd expect. Throughout this entire movie, James Gunn did a wonderful job at showing us what the true meaning of Superman is, and that is that he is a symbol of hope and humanity. As he is the true symbol that the earth needed, a symbol of hope, a symbol of freedom, and a symbol that will stand up to them no matter what the cost. One thing that bothered me with a lot of other YouTubers that reviewed this film is that they kept saying that this was a comic book movie come to life, and that most people couldn't handle that.
You asked from a moron egg?
And in case a bunch of you think that I'm joking, no, I'm being 100% honest that about 50 to 75% of the reviews that I've watched on YouTube from other people all said the same thing. It's like a comic book movie come to life. Huh. As if people had been hatched from a moron egg and didn't realize that superhero movies are a comic book come to life. Did you just suddenly realize this? Every comic book movie that had been made is like a comic book come to life. There are thousands of people, comic book nerds mostly, that will watch a superhero movie and point out if a scene is just like it was in a comic book. Huh, that's weird. It's not like that this movie is basically a comic book movie. No. People assume that James Gunn just made a different version of his own Superman. The fuck is wrong with some of you? What did you expect? Did you expect it to be, I don't know, like an action-adventure movie? This comes from a guy who literally gave us 4 frickin' comic book movies come to life. Did we forget Guardians of the Galaxy? Did we forget the Suicide Squad? Did we forget motherfucking Peacemaker? Apparently people must have, because they just seemingly have screwed out of their heads and don't remember that he made superhero movies. And also, in case you want even more weirder shit that James Gunn did, the Scooby-Doo movies that I have referenced. Yeah. Think! Like, my God. A bunch of people, I had to laugh at a bunch of people and critics that were like, this is like a comic book come to life. You're absolutely right. Congratulations, you deserve the Nobel Peace Award. You deserve the biggest dumbass in the world award. I never... What? You mean superhero movies or comic book movies come to life? Who the fuck would have thunk that? Idiots. Some of you people. Now, yes, did I notice that this was like a comic book movie come to life? Yes, I did. Did I notice it was a lot like My Adventure with Superman? Yes, it was. Is that a bad thing? I'm gonna let Lego Batman do this for me.
You might meet some new people. No. Even make some new friends. No.
This movie is a cinematic achievement, and I mean that in the best of ways. This was James Gunn's dream project, and yet he did a fantastic job. This was the Superman story that he wanted to tell, and he did, as this was a brilliant way, especially a new way to tell such a terrific Superman tale. As most people complained, yeah, it was a little political. Okay, yes, it was. But you know what? We can look around that and see something better. As this movie is a pure example of hope, as every single character in this, every other superhero that was in this, is a symbol of something hopeful. As I think it's wonderful that every single superhero in this, from Mr. Terrific to Guy Gardner to Hawkgirl, they all are a symbol of something better. As a lot of people might ask me, is this one of the best Superman movies and one of the best superhero movies ever made? By bar none, yes. For James Gunn's own creation, for his own masterpiece on his own creation, for a dream project he always have wanted to do? Yeah, this was a great cinematic experience. This was a great Superman movie. And especially for someone like James Gunn, yeah, he was the perfect man to do this. Now listen, I do want to make this clear. I'm not trying to throw the other reviewers under the table for saying that they don't like Superman. That's fine. I was only picking on them saying, this is like a comic book come to life. No, perish the thought. But their own opinions are their own words. And I'm not trying to say that my review is better than a lot of theirs. Hell no. A lot of them have more experience with reviewing movies than I have. But that doesn't mean that I hate James Gunn's Superman. I absolutely love it. And whenever the Snyder fanboys call this like a piece of shit or trash or that it's the worst the worst Superman movie ever made, I just ignore them and go, yeah. And you're talking to a guy that absolutely loved Man of Steel. In fact, when I saw Man of Steel in 2015 or 2014, one of those years, it was my favorite movie that year that I saw. By bar none. But if I had to pick one over the other, yeah, I probably would go with James Gunn's version of Superman. As a bunch of people and a bunch of friends of mine where I live and wherever that they work told me that this was worth watching. And are they right? Absolutely. David Cornsweet is... he really did measure up to Superman. That was one of my fears going into this. But when I first saw the promo art with him in the suit, man, did he just nail it. And then actually watching him in this movie was the final nail in that coffin I really needed. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, perfect fucking casting. You could not ask for a better guy. And also Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, I thought that was a joke. I was like, yeah, okay, the guy that voiced Hal Jordan is going to be Guy Gardner. Holy shit, he's Guy Gardner. And also, let me see his name here, Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific. My God, why didn't you tell me that Darwin would become awesome? I mean, I loved him in X-Men First Class, but wow. And he said that he wanted to have a bunch of African-American kids look up to him. Dude, I am white as white can be, and even I looked up to him. That is an amazing accomplishment, so well done. It was beautifully handcrafted, wonderfully written, and terrifically directed by James Gunn. This is a cinematic masterpiece. And what's my Funko Pop rating for Superman? Hmm. You might think I'd give it a Supreme Strain since I consider it Supreme, or maybe an Ishigo Kurosaki because I see it as number one. I am gonna do the honor of giving it a Superman. Why? Because all throughout watching this movie, and I've watched it like 3, 4 times, I couldn't stop smiling and looking up at David Cornsweet and realizing he is the Superman I've always been waiting for and the one I've wanted. Certainly, nobody's ever going to touch Christopher Reeve or his legacy, but David comes really damn close. And James Gunn did a great job of honoring the wonderful Christopher Reeve with his own rendition. And he pays a lot of homage to Christopher Reeves in this movie. So, James Gunn Superman, or Superman 2025, whatever you want to call it, gets the honorary Funko Pop rating of a Superman. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified every single time I make an upload. Share the video around the web in case you want to help the channel and support it grow. And also, you can join me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And let me know what you thought about James Gunn's Superman or Superman 2025. Any comments down below. Did you love it as much as I did? Do you hate it? You know, you feel your own opinion, and who is your favorite Superman, whether it be live action, animated, or both? Let me know in the comment section down below, as I really do believe that this was a movie worth waiting for. And let me tell you, man, I cannot wait for this summer where we get to see Supergirl on the big screen. I'm so excited for Millie Adlock, and I am really awaiting for the Supergirl movie. Are you guys? Or are you more excited for Clayface? Personally, I'm excited for both, but let me know your own opinion in the comments down below. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I believe in the verse. How about nerdy? Keep it on. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and until next time, keep it on and take care.